Okay, let's continue. So far in previous video what we did was defining the WBS inside of each project file and also defined our tasks inside of the project files. Now we want to move to the next step, and what we need to do is to define a resource inside of the Microsoft project. Okay, so to do that, I want to tell you that because we have three separate projects, right? We have three separate projects, but we have a pool of resources, and these three projects is using these resources. But to manage these resources, we need to manage them all together. We cannot manage them separately. To support this concept, we need to create a resource pool. Okay. First of all, if you want, you can define resource for each project separately, but then when you want to do the resource leveling, there you will have a headache. So let me create resource RP as resource pool. Okay, let me open this file, a new file. I name it RP as a resource pool. Then now on resource tab, I'm going to I need to find the resource sheet. Here I can select resource sheet, and it's a new view to define resources. When you want to define the resources, there are multiple ways to define the resources, but here on this view you can define the basic information. And when you define the, for example, R1, when you define that, you specify the basic information for each resource. Here, if you double click, you have resource information, and you can provide more details regarding your resource, and you can define more complex information related to your resource. Okay, but now here let's follow the resource section from the document. Resource information. Cost of all work resources to increase by 30% at the beginning of March for those resources work inside of the year. Okay, so what it's saying is those resources that are working in Iran, their job, the location of their task is inside of the Iran. We need to increase the money that we spend for them by 30% by the beginning of March. Okay, for example, the task 1, Mustafa is working on task 1 and it's in Tehran. If the task in Tehran is delayed or shifted, or for whatever reason is happening after the March, then we need to increase the cost for Mustafa by 30%. Okay, that's what he's saying. Note, Isfahan, Shiraz, Tehran are cities of Iran. Okay. If that project takes more than 6 months, then the cost of engineering and consultants decreased by 10% as a fine. Okay, so engineering resource and consultants resource, if the duration of project past the 6 months, we need to find them. Okay, now the resource. The first resource is mentioned here is admin. It is an exceptional resource to handle specific tasks. Okay, so first resource is admin. I put the name on resource name. Okay, then there is a field type, work material cost. Admin is a human resource for us, and it's a work, sure. Then material, it's for material resource, nothing to add here. Initial, it's just the text and pick the first letter of the resource name. Group, we don't need to group yet, at least based on the information so far we had, no need. Max here by default is 1. Okay, but I I don't think that I have any information here regarding the admin to specify how many admin are available. Okay, so I don't touch it for now. Let's go next. The cost of this resource in Tehran is 20,000. The cost of this resource outside of Tehran, other cities of Iran, is 30,000 per hour. This one is also 20,000 per hour. And the cost of this resource outside of the Iran is 50,000 per hour. Okay, if you go back to the Microsoft project, you can see there is a standard rate and based on hour, but it is mentioned in dollar. In this example, there is no I didn't specify the currency, so you can assume it's dollar or any other currency. Let's say it's a fictional currency just in sake of practice, but the important point here is Microsoft project only support one currency. So if in your project you are using multiple currencies, you need to pick one and convert it to that specific currency when you want to do the data entry. Okay, if you want to know where you can update this, for example, dot to decimal here, and also it's based on dollar, I can go file, option, general, display. Now the symbol is dollar. I can remove the decimal. This one, if you want, you can select different currency, but it is just a predefined set to specify the symbol, but you can use USD and still use for type euro here, doesn't matter. Okay, and I think that's good without the symbol. Okay, should be good. 0 per hour. Okay, but the problem here is, here in this field I have only one value for a standard rate, right? But here in the here in this section it is mentioned for each cities should be different. How can I define this? I can double click on the resource, going to cost tab. You have general cost, and here I can specify for default A, B, C, D, E. This is something that I can use. For example, A, I can consider it as Tehran default, and B, outside of the Tehran. Remember, you cannot rename this. Okay, it's something that Microsoft, I don't know, they didn't want to make it easier for users to just allow the user to rename these tabs for each resource, but they didn't. Anyway, they have bigger problems with crazy bugs to fix than implement this improvement. Okay, tab A. So back to the question. In Tehran, 20,000 per hour. Let's assume A is Tehran, so a standard rate is 20,000 per hour. Okay, is it mentioned anything regarding the overtime rate? 50,000. The max here. Only 2 projects due to the issue. The first 2 months of project there are only 2 admin available. Okay, this is the availability. This is talking about the availability. We go through that after this part. So there is nothing mentioned for overtime rate. So if nothing mentioned for the overtime rate, I can assume you can leave it as 0, but the better approach is when nothing mentioned for overtime rate, it means overtime rate also to be calculated same as a standard rate. So the best approach is I put 20,000 per hour for overtime rate as well, and per use cost nothing mentioned, so I put it as a 0. Per use cost is the cost whenever you use a resource on a task, regardless of the duration. At the beginning of the task, this amount will charge for that specific task. If I put 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, 1 million, as soon as you assign the resource to a task, this cost is happening, regardless of the cost of resource based on the number of hours that working on the task. Okay, what was the B? 30,000, right? And overtime same, and outside of the Iran was 50,000. Okay, BC, right. But here, remember, because this resource is working in Iran, at the beginning of the March, I need to increase by 30%. So how can I define that? At the beginning of the March, 1st of March plus 30%, or you can calculate and put the exact value, or you can use like this. Okay, and I have to do the same March here, 30% plus 30%. Okay, beginning of the March plus 30% plus 30%. Okay, A, B, C, so far so good. And this one is consultant, seems like, right? So if this one is, we can see it because it's mentioned exceptional resource to handle specific tasks. But should I consider it as engineering and consultant? Should be. If it's not, even if I don't consider it as a consultant, it definitely expert on his field, IT engineer. So I need to apply a fine if the project takes more than 6 months. Okay, so if the project, so starting 1st of November, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So beginning of the May, right? February, March, April. Yes, beginning of the May, I need to find them minus 10%. Minus 10%. Okay. Beginning of the May, minus 10%. Minus 10%. Okay. And this one, beginning of the May, minus 10%, minus 10%. Okay, so far so good. I hope I didn't make a mistake. Okay, so this part done. Now go to the availability of the resource. Go down. Organization, the owner of the project, has decided to provide 4 admins for these projects A, B, and C. But due to some issues for first 2 months of projects, there are only 2 admins available. In the 3rd month, 1 admin adds, means in month 3 of the project there are 3 available admins, and at the beginning of the 4 months another admin joins, so from month 4 of the project there are 4 available admins available. Okay, so month 1, 2 months and 2 admin available, 3rd 3 admins, for months 4 and plus 4 admin. Okay, how can I define that? Here the max mentioned as 1. Okay, sometimes when you open a new project you may see it as 100%. You can go to file option, depends on your need. Maybe you 100% or 1 is same. You can go to, it was display, no, general, no, schedule. Schedule the assignment. Show assignment as decimal or percentage. If I put on percentage, I can see it as 100%. Remember, 100% is 1, and the 100% or 1 means if every day, every working day is 8 hours, that 100% means you will have 8 hours of this resource available for every day. Okay, that's what it means. Let me move back to decimal because I don't like that percentage. Okay, so it is saying 4 available, but not it's the availability of them depends on the time of the project. So I cannot just leave it as 1. I need to change it to based on what it mentioned. So from NA to 1st of March, no, first 2 months, November and December. So till end of December I have 2, right? From 1st of January till end of January I have 3, and from 1st of February to end I have 4. Okay, when I press OK, it is showing 2, but this 2 it will change based on the current time in the project. Okay, so when you for example, if we reach the middle of the November, it's 2, middle of December is 2, we reach the middle of the January, it will be 3. Okay, so this resource is done. Worker, it is a resource very low priority. An organization can provide this resource as much as need in these projects. So basically there is no limitation for this resource regarding the availability. Good. So the organization can provide how many based on our needs. So later on when we conclude our planning, we can see how much is the pickup required for the worker and then manually update it in the resource sheet. That's fine. This is something that I need to do it later on after the resource assignment and budgeting. Cost of this resource in Tehran and outside of Tehran is 5,000 per hour. Okay. Cost of this resource outside of the Iran is 120,000 per day. Okay, so I have a resource worker here in this test. It is mentioned that if the worker is in Tehran and other cities of Iran, the cost is 5,000. If this resource is outside of the Iran, cost is 120,000, right? So to do this, we can have 2 approach. One approach is same as admin. You try to define one resource, one single resource in Microsoft project, then goes to cost tab and define different resources. This is one approach. Other approach is, especially if the calendar of resource is different based on their location. Okay, so in this case, better I create 2 separate resources. Worker IR worker, let's see, IR worker FR foreign. Okay, so a worker that works inside of the Iran and worker works outside of the Iran. I don't need to touch the max now. I need to update it later. Then the standard rate was 5,000, right? 5,000 per hour, 5,000 per hour, and this one is 120,000 per day. Remember, this one is day. Okay, 220,000 per day. Let me check what was the error. It's funny. Each version of the Microsoft project, they made it worse. They couldn't map it the capital D with this, not capital D. It's crazy. I don't know what they are doing. They are basically, for me, they are killing Microsoft project. Unbelievable. During this video I will show you a lot of bugs, and we probably face, same as last video, we faced a crazy bug for it was task dependency tab in the task information page, and it's funny that Microsoft couldn't fix this after, I don't know, Microsoft project is for, let me first version of Microsoft project. Oh, 9084. Holy moly, 40 years. I born in 1984 also. It's funny because in 2010 I reported some critical bugs to Microsoft. At that moment I was involved in their community a little bit, and they said they're gonna fix it, and now almost 15 years passed and they didn't fix it. But the one that I showed you yesterday was new. Okay, let's go back to our work. So I created two different resources because I want to create two different calendars. Okay. Okay, here for the first resource, admin, it didn't mention anything about the calendar, right? Right, but for worker, outside of the, okay, here it's mentioned something outside of Iran, out of Iran, Sunday, Saturday are off for this resource. Okay, so I have some clue about the working hours for the calendar of the resource. Sunday and Saturday is off. I didn't define any calendar yet. Okay. Next. Okay. Engineer Iran. Okay. Two resource. Engineer Iran. Okay, this is also work. In Tehran we have 10 man days available from this resource for this project. Working days for engineer are from Saturday to Wednesday. Okay, so I have some clue for the calendar of this resource. Working days are from Saturday to Wednesday. But before continuing the resource, let me go back to the beginning of the test. I think I missed to create project calendar. Yes, I think I missed this point. Agree, start date, working hours of all calendars must be from 7 to 18, 1 hours. Okay, the first Monday, fourth week in each. Let's create let's create a calendar. From the start date of program, every 3 months, the second Tuesday. Also, it's not a bad idea to create the calendar after defining resource, because there is a important point that it is good to it is good if that case happened and show you, and it happened only when you create the project calendar after defining the resource. But it means I need to create a calendar after defining this resource. What is the best solution here? Let's continue, and then I will see how can I. Let's assume that I forget about the calendars. Okay, it's not bad actually to define a calendar later and try to clean up a little bit. So you will see what you need to do in this case later on. Okay, working days. Iran Saturday. Just to remember, these points are important. Working days Saturday to Wednesday, and working hours. Here working hours 7 to 6, right? 12 to 13 is off, and first Monday of 4 week, and these two also we need to define in the calendar. Okay, we'll go back to the resource. The pro to use resource engineer working day. Okay, the project manager only allows to use this resource for those tasks inside of the Iran and cannot use them outside of the Iran. The cost of resource in Tehran is 10 hours. Cost of resource outside of Tehran. That's the reason that the resource is separated, because these engineers, project manager can only use them for the task that happened inside of the Iran. Okay, so gonna have engineer R as well. So for this one it is set 10 engineer, right? If I remember correctly. Man days available from resource. Okay, 10 is correct. Then double click regarding the costs. Cost is 10 hour, 10,000 for overtime, and the resources in Iran. So beginning of the March, 30% increase, 30% increase, and they are engineer also for beginning of the May, minus 10%, this one also, it was 15,000, right, if I don't make mistake. Now beginning of the March, plus 30%, and then 1st of May, minus 10%. Okay, so this is for outside of the Tehran. This is for Tehran, and press OK. Okay, I think we could accept the calendar. Right now, London, engineer London. Oh, we have engineer for London and we have engineer for Dubai. So it's not the foreign, it's engineer London and engineer Dubai. Okay, here I think I may use, for example, the group. I can say ENG. It is not affecting any calculation. It is something that you can use later on for reporting to categorize your resource. For example, WK for workers. Admin also, maybe we consider it as engineer, IT engineer. Okay. Then you can also use custom field. These are the predefined field from Microsoft, but you can also use a text and use it as a text. So okay, London, Dubai. Now check the London one. The London have 4 Mondays available. Okay, London 4 Mondays available. Working days, Monday to Friday. Okay, the project manager has permission to use this resource only for London's task. Okay, so that's important. So if a task is outside of the Iran, for example in Dubai, you cannot use this resource, and the cost is 50,000 per hour. Okay, and for this one I don't need, see, for this one I don't need to beginning of the March increase, but maybe I need to apply fine. Yes, because I don't need to increase it by the beginning of the March, because that was something that related to those tasks that happening in Iran. But if the project passed the 6 months, the beginning of the May, I need to find these people minus 10%. Okay, what about Dubai? For Dubai, 2 Mondays available. Okay, 2 Mondays. Working days for engineer Dubai are from Sunday to Thursday. I think the working days changed in Dubai, but at the time that I wrote this test, working days at Dubai was Sunday to Thursday, and Friday and Saturday was off. And my idea was it's a good practice to use resource from 3 different conditions. For example, in Iran, the working days is from Saturday to Wednesday, and in most of the Western countries, the working days are from Sunday to Friday. Sorry, Monday to Friday, and in Dubai was Sunday to was Sunday to Thursday. Okay, but now I know it's changed. It's not true, it's changed, but let's keep it. Maybe in future, if I provide a newer version of this test, I change this one. But for now, let's assume Dubai working days is from Sunday to Thursday, like all times. Because for this purpose, I need to create a new calendar. It make my situation a little bit more complex, help me to go more in deep in the software, and it challenged my understanding and my knowledge about the tools and project management. Okay, the project manager has permission to use resource only for Dubai tasks, same, and the cost of resource is 40,000 per hour. 40,000 per hour. 40,000 per hour. Okay, let me apply the fine. Beginning of the May, 10% minus 10%. Okay, so far so good. Now continue. Resource X. This resource is consultant. This resource only available on Sunday and Monday. The cost of this resource for task inside of E1, again, because I didn't define the calendar yet, I cannot create calendar for this resource now, but let's continue defining the resource and then create the calendar and come back to create the calendar of the resource, and I will explain you why how you can fix it, because if this case happen, you define the resource, then set the project calendar, then when you want to then Microsoft project can when you create a resource Microsoft project, you use the one of the standard calendars, default calendars for this resource, and later on when you change the project calendar, Microsoft project is not updating the calendar of the resource automatically. And here in our example, in our test, each resource require a specific calendar. So cost of this resource inside of the A1 40,000, outside of the A1 60,000. Okay, so let me define resource X, and I have resource Y. These two also work. Consultant, let's just use it, one person. And A and B inside of A1 40,000 per day, outside of A1 60,000 per hour. The cost is same. 40,000 per day, right? 400,000. Right. 100,000 per day. Do I need to apply the 20 increasing 30% for consultant? Let me check again. Cost of all work resources to increase by 30% at the beginning of the March for those resources work inside of the A1. Yes. Beginning of the March. Plus 30%. Plus 30%. Because A means working. In this case means working inside of the A1. And 1st of May minus 10%. Minus 10%. And for the work outside of the A1, how much was? 60,000 per hour, right? If I'm not wrong. $60,000 per hour. No need to increase by 1st of March, but the beginning of the May I need to apply a fine 10%. Okay, so far so good. I need to do the same for Y, or maybe because it's the same, let me try to rename this one to Y. Okay, now let me check what is the difference between these two. This one is working, this resource is only available Sunday to Monday, and this resource available Monday to Tuesday. Okay, integrator Iran. Okay, so we have another resource, integrator Iran work. This one is all I consider it as engineer. Then 4 Mondays available. Okay, working days for integrator are from Saturday to Wednesday. See, Saturdays to Wednesday. Project manager only allow using this resource for those tasks inside of Tehran, cannot use them outside of Tehran. Cost of resource in Tehran 10,000, outside of Tehran 15,000. Okay, so A is inside of the Tehran 10,000, right? 10,000 per hour, 15,000 per hour. 1,000. Then beginning of the March plus 30% plus 30%, beginning of the May minus 10% minus 10%, outside of the Tehran 50,000 50,000, beginning of the March plus 30% plus 30%, beginning of the May minus 10% minus 10%. Okay, so far so good, right? We have integrator for outside of the Iran as well. Integrator FR. This one also I put engineer. Remember, this group is optional. It is not affecting any calculation. Working days or decars from Monday to Friday. Okay, so calendar is different. The project manager can only use the resource for task outside of the Iran. That's fine. The cost of resource is 40,000 per hour. The cost is 40,000 per hour, right? But I need to apply a fine, right, from beginning of the May. I hope I didn't make any mistake. Remember, this is not a although it's kind of a tutorial, but it's a tutorial to solve a test. You need to have the basic, at least the basic knowledge of this software to watch this video. This is kind of advanced video. Remember this point. If you get lost, try to watch the other tutorials I had on the YouTube and then come back. First try to solve this test on your end and then comes back and watch this solution video. Okay, so because of that, I'm not just following the standard approach of the tutorials. Now base calendar, we didn't hear anything about how we calculate the cost, so we assume it's prorated. Next, kit. Kit is a material. Okay, kit. Work is material. Put group as material. Okay, there. For kit, let's see what it said. The cost of each unit is 60,000 in Iran, and the end of each month from beginning of project, cost of this resource increased by 10%. Note that this is only for inside of the Iran due to inflation. The cost of each unit is 80,000 outside of the Iran. It's crazy, but and another point, some of the things that I put in this test, you may not find it logical in real scenario, but my intention was to force you to use the features available inside of the software. Okay, so for example, my intention for saying this, is to force you to use different cost tab and force you to use it during your planning, so you get familiar with this feature of the software. So let's say A is inside of the E1 and 60,000. There is no overtime for material, cost per use, nothing mentioned, so I leave it. But November, so beginning of October, 10%, 10%. Beginning of January, December, January, plus 10%. Beginning of the Feb, plus 10%, 10%. Beginning of March, plus 10%. Beginning of April, plus 10%. Beginning of May, plus 10%, and I don't think the project takes more than this, because but if it continue, you need to come here and update it again. Okay, and the cost of this resource is fixed, 80,000 for outside of the Iran. So if a task, you see, now you can see why the location is important. Shiraz, Tehran, London, Dubai. So the cost of these resources during the assignment should change based on the location. You should consider the location, and I will show you how you can do it later. Okay. So now let's move to the calendar. So based on what I observed so far, we have deep resources and rich resources working days and working hours are some of them working from Saturday to Wednesday, some of them working on Sunday to Thursday, some of them works Sunday to Friday, some of them working from Monday to Friday, if I'm not wrong. So basically, if I look at the project as a whole, every day there is an available resource, and if I yes, resource based on resource. Okay, so calendar of the task is based on resource. So to do this, let me. So I define these resources inside of the resource pool. Okay, but for the calendar, also I can use this and move the calendars to other files. We can do this, or we can open the master plan ultimate. You open the ultimate file and go to project, change working time, and I need to create a new calendar. Let me create a new calendar. Let me name this one. What can I call this one? Let me name it base calendar. Base calendar. Okay. And for the base calendar, if you want to know more about how to create the calendar, I highly recommend you, if you are not familiar, I highly recommend you stop here. I have 2 videos regarding the calendar on YouTube. Go and watch them and come back. Okay. So if I remember correctly, the working hours were 7 to 12, 13 to 18. Okay. And let me go back. The Start date of program is first day. Okay, working hours, I define this one. First Monday of fourth week in each month is off. For all project off. From the start of date of the program, every 3 months, second Tuesday of the month is off only for program calendar. Okay, so I need to have a program calendar as well, with additional exception for the program only. Okay, so base calendar, all okay. I'm not sure. So this is base calendar. Change working time, create new one from base calendar, name it program calendar. Okay, now for the program calendar I need the exception, 3 months meeting, and this one is happening like what? Every 3 months, the second Tuesday of the month. Every month, the third Tuesday. First Tuesday every three months, the third Tuesday is public holiday, non-working. Okay, so this is the program calendar first. Okay, now change working time again, the project calendars. Okay, now I need to create new one. I create project calendar. I think you could do it without the base calendar, but just in case. Project calendar. Okay, for project calendar it is mentioned what? First Monday of, okay, working hours, first Monday of fourth week. First Monday of fourth week. Okay. Monthly meeting, right? It was monthly meeting. The first Monday of fourth week in each month is off in our project. No, we don't. I don't know the reason. Off day. Weekly, right? The first Monday of fourth week in each month. The first Monday of the fourth week in each month. اولین دوشنبه هفته. The first Monday. Okay, how can I define that? The first Monday. I think it's wrong. So it's weekly. Every 4 weeks on Monday. I think that what I meant here was the first Monday of the fourth week in each month. Maybe I made a mistake. Because here on monthly I can set the first Monday of the month. but here it said, I think it's a mistake, the first Monday of the fourth week in each month. On each month. Okay, so I think this one, first Monday, fourth week. I think I have to do every 4 weeks on Monday. Let me change this one. It can create confusion. The first Monday of each month. It's better. Let me fix it here. It's better. The first Monday of each month. Okay. It's publicly. Okay. So this is the project calendar. Now I created one calendar for program, one calendar for project. Now I need to let's first assign them. For example, this is the program, ultimate exam, project information, program calendar, start days 7. Okay. And for the project, for example, project A, project information. See, the calendar is not exist here. Let me open B, open C, and change working time. Where is the organizer? We used to have the organizer in this page. File, info, organizer. Now from ultimate exam, which has the calendar, to project A, program project, copy, B, copy, and C. I only need project calendar, but it's okay. Now for this is project C, I can go project information, specify the calendar, fix this one. Also I should not forget about calendar option. This is 7 to 18. 1 hour's rest time. It's 10 hours per day. Seven working days, 70, 30. Okay. Now this is happening when you put the I don't need, just to make it nicer, just for this purpose. This one also should start from 7. Okay. To understand what I'm doing here, you need to watch those videos, honestly. This one is also 7. I'm trying to fix the calendar for the projects. Okay, this one is good because this one also follow the same option, right? No, this file also I need to do it separately. Don't show me this again. Okay. Then project C is fine, project B is fine, project A 7, project calendar and file option 7, 18, 10, 70, 13, okay. This one, okay. This one also should be 7. I think I put 7 here, no? Okay. So calendar, now I can move to the resource calendars. Okay. See, if you look at here, when you define the resource and you didn't before creating the calendar, see Microsoft Project assigning the base calendar, a standard calendar for each resource, and the calendar for resource in Microsoft Project is very important. Because basically by default the schedule, when you do the assignment, Microsoft is using the resource calendar instead of the project calendar. So the priority for Microsoft Project is based on resource calendar. But here I define a resource first. Now I want to change the calendars. Okay, now try to create another important tips. Whenever you want to create calendar for a resource, do not open change working time like this. See, if you see for calendar, base calendar, just close it. Okay, just close it. You have, what you need to see is this one. To make sure that you open the to make sure if everything is fine, you can just move to Gantt chart, then project, change working time. Okay, now let's see what we need to create for each resource. The first one, let's go first one, admin, anything here mentioned for the calendar? No, nothing mentioned for the calendar. So if nothing mentioned anything for the calendar regarding the working days, we need to consider that if the resource is inside of the E1, outside of the E1, or maybe this resource. Also, we can assume that this resource doesn't have any specific calendar. So basically, this resource we can assign it to this resource can use the project calendar directly, right? Because I can assume there is no limitation for this resource. To the specific task, okay. The cost mentioned. Nothing mentioned for the calendar. So I assume, because my assumption was project is like 7 days work. Some task is happening because it's in 3 locations: Iran, London, Dubai. In Iran, working days are from Saturday to Wednesday. In Dubai, the working hours is from Sunday to Thursday, and in London the working days are from Monday to Friday. So basically, if I want to select one calendar for whole project that cover all these cities, all the scope of works, then the calendar should be 7 days. Basically, in other words, in my project, each day there is something to do based on the location. Okay, that's what it means. So let's say go back to the resource sheet. Resource sheet. Let me bring this view bar also. Resource sheet. Okay, so admin, let me put the calendar is not existing in this file. Okay, now go back to organizer. I didn't info organizer, and from, for example, ultimate exam calendars, I put the project calendar into resource. Okay, now for this resource the calendar is project calendar. Okay, let's continue. This is for admin. Then worker. Okay, outside of the Iran, inside of the Iran. Out of Iran, Sunday and Saturday are off for this resource. Okay, inside of the Iran, this resource should adapt itself to the task and project calendar. Okay, so if the worker is working outside of the Iran, Sunday and Saturday is off. If it's inside of the Iran, then poor guys should adapt themselves based on the project calendar. Okay, so worker in Iran, project calendar. But wait, inside of the Iran, this resource should adapt itself to the task and project calendar. Okay. Outside of the Iran, Sunday and Saturday. So I need a calendar. I need a calendar. I need a calendar that Sunday, Saturday and Sunday is off, right? Sunday and Saturday are off. Okay. Create new one based on project calendar. I can say, let me call this calendar out of Iran, Monday to Friday, for example. It's a name. Then for this calendar, you can say Sunday and Saturday are off. Okay, now go back to resource sheet and worker for outside, out of Iran, Monday to Friday. Okay, engineer in Iran, next resource. Engineer working in Iran, Saturday to Wednesday. Okay, So I need another calendar. Project change. I need another calendar. Engineer Iran. Let me call it engineer in Iran. And for these people, working days, off days basically, are Thursday and Friday. Okay. Engineer London. Okay, it's engineer in London, Monday to Friday. So I need to go here. Engineer London. Sunday is off, Saturday is also off. Now go back to resource sheet and London. Okay, engineer in Dubai. Engineer in Dubai. Sunday to Thursday. So basically I can create new one, engineer Dubai, and calendar I can copy from London. And maybe Thursday, Friday and Saturday off. Okay, then move back to resource sheet, engineer Dubai, resource X and Y. Project calendar, resource X. Calendar for the resource X is Monday and Tuesday, only available Monday and Tuesday. So this means so this resource is available only Monday and Tuesday. Okay, let me create other one. RY, save yes. RY also, what was the RY? RY is Monday and Tuesday. Wait, RY, RX, what's the difference? There was a difference. Sunday and Monday, I made a mistake. RX is Sunday okay, not Tuesday, bro. Okay, so this one is RX is Sunday, Monday, RY is okay. So let me double check again. RX Sunday, Monday, RY Monday, Tuesday. Okay, so task, resource sheet, resource X is Rx, resource Y is Ry. Now integrators. Working days for integrator Iran are from Saturday to Wednesday. So basically it's same as engineers. Okay, it's same as engineers. So I can, for this resource, I can create new one, or I can use engineer in Iran. For integrator foreigner outside of the Iran, doesn't matter if in Dubai or London, working days for integrator is Monday to Friday. So for this one I can use engineer London, right? Engineer London. And kit, there is no calendar for material. Okay, so I think we're good, but there are some things I need to do before jump to the next step. I define the resource, I set the calendars for everything, but the important point here is I didn't specify the resource pool. Here on the resource pool, let me use on resource, use resource from RP, yes, and conflict calendar or resources pool takes precedence, yes. Okay, and for each project, for example project A, resource pool project A RP. So on project A, when I'm using the resource pool, now if I'm going to resource sheet, I can see all these resources, and all of this coming from resource pool file, because it's resource pool is a totally separate file. Okay, I think we're good so far. What we did so far is we created the calendar, we defined tasks with WBS task, and also we defined resources so far. So next step, we can start with the resource assignment. I hope I didn't make any mistake, but it's possible that I made a mistake, and I think it's really good if I made a mistake here in, for example, in calendar or defining the resource, and later on in later videos I notice, oh, I made a mistake here, because on that moment I need to come back and fix it, and in that case I can show you how you can do that, because it's really important for you also during when you want to do your real work, real job. It happens all the time that you are doing, and you suddenly notice that you made a mistake. What is the most efficient way to clean up that mistakes? Okay, instead of trying to recreate everything. And if you don't have enough skill to do that, then you may end up creating bigger problems and end up having very messy file. So I would be happy if I made a mistake, but I didn't make any mistake by intention. If exists, I don't know, but if exists and I can find it, I'm looking at the look at it as in a positive way to coming videos show you how you can fix them. Okay, I think we can stop here for this video, and in next video I will start with the resource assignment, and next coming videos become very complex, especially after the resource assignment, when I want to do the resource leveling, creating the reports, analyzing and updating the project. They are very complex compared to what we did so far. So far so good. Okay, have a good day, and hope to see you in the next video. Bye.